as we know, there's a lot of drama that goes on in F1. We're going to talk about that today as well. All the current drama after the Bahrain Grand Prix. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to F1 America.
Live from the paddock. Sponsored by Blood Racing.
Thank you, Blood.
Do I need to take these glasses off? They put a weird glare on my eyes.
They might put a weird glare, yeah.
We'll take that off there.
Actually, what they do in like professional photography is they use frames without any lenses, so you don't get any glare.
Good to know. Learn something new every day.
In photography school.
How's that working out for you? It's about as good as underwater Babbitt.
Now we're learning how to film. Lighting setup.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a couple things today. We're going to talk about Bahrain, the first round of F1. We're definitely excited that the races are back. I did finish Drive to Survive.
I've got 1.5 episodes left.
We can kind of start with you're not there yet, but I mean, I feel like Drive to Survive now, maybe it's because I'm paying attention to the season all the way through. So it's slow. It's kind of boring. And
this season's not as good. I
think it's been going downhill.
We kind of already talked about it.
Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing advantageous that you're going to be like, oh my God.
Look, it's still entertaining. It's still a nice recap for us to see, and it gives us a little bit more insight to the behind the scenes stuff that we don't see just following all the racing every weekend. In that, it's just, I think it's interesting just to see that perspective of things. Yeah, it's dramatized a little, but as we know, there's a lot of drama that goes on in F1. We're going to talk about that today as well. All the current drama after the Bahrain Grand Prix. So let's just talk about the race real quick. Kind of boring.
It was kind of
over 20-second lead, right?
It was kind of weird too, though, because free practices, everything was kind of all over the place still. Nobody was really set in stone. You're like, oh man, like I thought Mercedes was going to even be better. And there's a lot coming from me. So they were looking great in FP2, and I didn't watch FP3 because it was like an ungodly hour.
Well, and FP2 generally is kind of like the same conditions as qualifying in the race.
Yeah.
So that's really kind of what everybody looks at the most to see who's going to be the highest potential, where Red Bull's kind of off the mark. Mercedes was dominating that session. But when it came to race day and qualifying,
Max showed up, and not that he was sleeping or whatever. I'm sure he might have been struggling in practice, but they knew which ways to take the car to get the most out of the car, and then he made it work when it counted. Ferrari definitely looked good in form, at least compared to years past. They made it out of the first round. They qualified decent.
So this is
the first pace with everybody else. Like they were ahead of the main pack.
Well, they finished good, right? We'll put a
good construction results. Good constructor points for sure. Out the first round,
especially after they had a battle. Two different on-track battles, like real close back to back. Sainz overtaking Leclerc, and then Leclerc basically coming back overtaking Sainz. And then in the end, Sainz ended up, getting a second higher place. Or no, actually, Perez.
He had third. Perez came back. Actually, the biggest thing to talk about was Max dominated, which not a shock. We kind of all figured that, and now it's going to be a dictation of what's going to happen the rest of the season, which is fine. Let's just rule that out.
Yeah.
If you're playing fantasy, make sure to choose appropriately.
Right.
But the biggest drama and the most entertaining part was after the race.
Yeah.
With the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, or whatever we're calling them.
Yuki Tsunoda and Daniel Ricciardo
dive bombed Daniel for some reason. And Daniel handled it really well. Like he's just like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, and he even said, I'll save it.
I'll save it. It's like, he also knows he's going to be recorded.
Yeah. And behind closed doors, he can have that conversation. So maybe, I don't know, maybe in Drive to Survive season 6 or whatever season it will be more. We'll see more. But
apparently Yuki was also just like doing that. It wasn't just to Daniel. It was like to other guys on the grid too. He was passing everybody. Yeah. He was just pissed. So basically, if you missed, Yuki got team orders to give up the place to Daniel because Daniel had a faster pace.
Which, backstory on that too, he was sitting behind K-Mag for ever. Like Yuki? he was stuck behind Magnussen for 5, 6, 7 laps.
Yeah, he wasn't bad.
He was right there within striking distance, but he couldn't make anything happen. So Daniel was coming in and he was on softs too towards the end of his run, and he was showing serious pace. He was told to get out of the way. Well, he took him, 3 laps to get out of the way?
Yeah, it took him far too long, and by then, any momentum that Daniel had was pretty much gone, and he
lost the flow, and then he kind of started getting it back.
And,
and he was like on K-Mag at the end of the race, but he's like, oh, well, A, it's not for points. But like for the sake of, if you would have got out of the way immediately, he maybe could have made a run to get closer to the points.
Yeah, exactly.
B, like everybody said too, in the pre-race brief, you know that you're on a different strategy, and this could be a potential. So like you can't get mad at it. I watched a video of some guy. He was an older gentleman. I think I sent it to you about like how Honda is, since Honda's paying the way, right?
Oh yeah.
Basically, Yuki has a seat because of Honda.
Interesting.
Because the Japanese are supporting that, and they need a Japanese
and
rider.
They did it apparently
back in like 2005 or something. Like a really long time ago. The same thing. It's like, okay, what's his face is a great driver, but is he worth that much?
Right. Yeah. Basically saying that the Honda driver got to take that guy's spot, even though because of their deal. So kind of interesting to see that maybe that's why Yuki still has a seat.
Yeah. I've been throwing some troll comments out there on Instagram on the F1 America page to people, or just blunt comments. They're not even troll comments. Just like, I think the optimal lineup for that team, AlphaTauri, Visa Cash App, whatever you want to call it,
Liam Lawson.
I think Liam and Daniel would kill it. Yeah. And that would be the move, because I think they would both work together well. They would see each other's strengths, and they would push each other, because Yuki, like anybody in F1 is fast. Right. Like if you made it there, you were fast in a car for sure.
Yeah. Even if your connections or your money or whatever got you there, you
even
still are good
enough. As much as I
to
can't stand Latifi, like you're able to drive that car, you're fast.
Right.
I'll throw that out there.
Even if you crash it a lot.
Yeah. But on the same token, like you don't necessarily deserve to be there or in that seat. Like Yuki could be in a Haas, he could be in a Williams, he could be in any other seat, but he doesn't need to be they've kept him there way too long.
Agreed. I mean, look at Gasly, look at Albon even, and sure, they gave him a chance to step into an actual Red Bull, but how long did that last? I mean, even look at Nick DeVries in the AlphaTauri last year.
But then look at Daniel gets an AlphaTauri and he made it work and got points.
For sure. But
which
also
the car
Daniel's
was different.
got a lot of F1 experience. He's got a lot of Red Bull experience,
Piastri made the comment too, though. He's like, oh, you need to build and grow into the car. He's like, no, that's bullshit. Just drive the fucking car.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a rookie Piastri, and he was in a shitbox car at first too. So yeah, maybe I wonder if DeVries would have done better if they would have kept him in the car throughout the entire season. But I don't know if I still don't think he would have gotten points in Mexico.
Yuki also didn't do great his first season. But
I don't think Yuki hasn't done great, period. He hasn't done anything. He's gotten a couple points. I bet you he has less points than like any other driver on the grid in his total combined career.
Maybe.
Like if you look at K-Mag, which yes, they've been around longer, but you look at K-Mag, Nico, all those guys that are on lower teams, I guarantee you have more points than he has in his entire racing career. If that made sense. I don't know if that made sense, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. And I think it does make sense that maybe he's there for a political reason, because he isn't performing really. No. Like, sure, he kind of outperformed DeVries, right?
That's expected. You should. Like,
for sure. Yeah, for sure.
And it's expected that I think it's expected that Daniel outperforms Yuki.
It better. Sure. Yeah, better. Like, if he's going to really step up and be... Yuki's also kind of like Ocon in the fact that, like,
yes, he actually is. I didn't think about that, but he is.
Like, so
the world owes me.
Hence with his team.
Yeah.
Like his teammates. And
I mean, I get it that he hasn't gotten a Red Bull opportunity yet, but at the same time, he hasn't done anything worth giving an opportunity. Like Pierre,
and I think
had a win. He had that win in Imola. No, it wasn't Imola.
Yeah,
it was Imola.
It was Imola.
Yeah, so Pierre got that win. Albon was putting up consistent results. So yeah, those guys have, of course, being fast and consistent results, got put into the Red Bull seat to give it a try.
Well, and Red Bull didn't really have anybody in that seat. Yeah. Like right now they have Perez, who's performing. He's not keeping up with Max, but he's performing.
At least if he was shitting the bed and he was like, 15th.
Yeah, if
I'm sure if he was 15th, they'd be like, yeah,
under the pressure like Albon and Gasly did, by crashing out and not like and falling way back in the. I mean, he's consistently mostly second. Sometimes he has a slip, but overall he is performing really well. So of course there's not an opportunity to jump into the Red Bull, except in 2025. It's kind of open that Perez is done. Like as far as all the speculation with Daniel Ricciardo could be going, they could be signing a new person, like all this stuff. It's kind of leading into, or even offering Albon.
Oh yeah,
because a 3-year contract.
They've already thrown him a contract, so it's like Albon. So Perez is kind of like, yeah, he's driving for his life right now, but where's he gonna go? Yeah, he's basically driving so that he could go fill a seat somewhere
else. Yeah, well, same with Sainz essentially. Even though he does have the Audi contract, right? I don't know why.
I don't
know.
So
now apparently Audi's having an issue where they might not even be able to come in now.
I did hear about that, like, or it's struggling to what team they're going to buy or something, financial backing or something.
Yeah, so it's so much.
Audi should just go buy. I'd rather them take Alfa Romeos or Steak. I'd rather them take Steak F1 team.
Well, that's who they're supposed to take over.
Yes. Yeah. But I saw a comment, and this could be just people trolling the internet. Taking over Alpine. I'm like, don't take over Alpine. Like,
okay, well, so talk about Alpine. Now they just had.
I've been trolling people on Alpine.
They just had two their higher VPs quit this week.
Yeah, they resigned, and they're calling it a restructuring. No, they didn't. You're not restructuring. According to the original post, they resigned. So you're not restructuring. They left.
You have to fill that position.
Yeah. That wasn't like, it's not like they said, unless they're leading it to believe that like they shit canned them. And then they're doing a restructuring. But how I read it, I didn't interpret it as a restructuring.
That's not how I read it either.
Yeah.
I think they both left. Maybe they don't like the new team principal, or they just don't see the team going in a direction.
All that money that they have, all that celebrity money, we have a bunch of celebrities over here.
Celebrities and athletes.
Funding money. And
a lot of them. Yeah.
Tons of money.
And they're not performing at all. They keep getting worse, actually.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. I didn't really like Upmar Sapphire. I think he's kind of soft, yeah. Like
I think
I'm soft,
but yes, you're really soft.
But also
like gummy bears.
You can be fucking hard, like you gotta be.
We should do an F1 after dark. We could talk about some shit.
Let's do it. Not today, but we'll do it.
That could be another day. So yeah, I mean, Bahrain is pretty boring, other than the fact that Yuki and Daniel are about to scrap it out.
Yeah. The inter-team battles really.
I would love to see Yuki do something really stupid and get shit canned, and then Liam just takes over full time. That'd be great.
I'm excited for Liam to get a fucking ride at some point because I think he really jumped in.
The Drive to Survive thing made him look great.
Well, he did
look great. But he made himself look great. Yeah, Drive to Survive boosted, made me like him even more.
For sure, 1,000%. They portrayed him good, almost like they did Daniel Ricciardo in the first season. Right? Kind of he's the next. We love you.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to see him kind of come into his own character too. I mean, he's still young, but we'll see. Hopefully, he gets a fucking opportunity. I think the problem with Yuki is he's too emotional, in the moment.
Which is weird. There was that one, his first couple seasons, he was very fiery. Then that one, I think it was season before last season, he started to mellow out a little bit and started kind of grow and mature. And then now you're
and now he's back
to the same fucking dickhead.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, so I think that's a big. Also, hey, if you're gonna race for the big boy team, you got to be a big boy, and you're still kind of acting like a child.
I'm trying to think of anybody that actually. I mean, George and Lewis occasionally throw some attitudes too, though, and they're on a big boy.
Yeah, but even Lewis is a little bit more. It's not to that level of out of control Yuki.
True.
Where you're like, dude, okay, calm yourself. Everybody is. It's emotional. Sports are emotional,
right?
Of course you're gonna get triggered, but are you gonna what is your action? What is your behavior gonna be?
Yeah, you don't see triggered. Lewis.
Max in his first season's fucking psycho. Even against Lewis in that championship, psycho.
Yeah.
Right? The way he was behaving. But
I mean, Max still gets a little fiery, but it's like last season when he was stop talking to me in the braking.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I mean, Max still and not giving the place to Perez, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you're just trying to find a reason to hate Max even more, but it's fine. You're just always gonna hold that against.
I'm always gonna.
Hey, but at the same time, you gotta respect the. I'd be like, there's no handouts here.
1,000%, dude. I mean, he's driving the fucking wheels off that car. He's good, man. I'm not gonna.
So I guess we could dive into the drama based on that.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
The world's on fire because the Christian Horner investigation, right? And then somebody leaked to all the news outlets, which we didn't get the leak. I don't know why, because we're a pretty credible,
incredible
F1, the Incredibles.
We were pretty incredible.
F1 news source.
Yeah.
So we didn't get the Google Drive docs.
Yeah, come on now.
But so they linked the Google Drive to all these people with screenshots and whatever that was part of this.
It got leaked to over 100 FIA people, all the team bosses, all like a bunch of people in the FIA.
I don't know why you would send it to the team bosses. That's stupid.
Drama.
No, yeah,
it's all it is. It's just dramatic effect. Try and make something happen. I don't know.
What's dumb though too is that they're like, oh, we don't need this in F1. I'm like, it's not in F1. It's in Christian Horner's like house. It's like that's the only thing I do think is kind of shady. Not for Horner. Like Horner did what he did, whatever. But it's just like you're just airing out everybody's dirty laundry, and it's like people are putting themselves in there that don't need to be in there. Like Zach Brown, go fuck yourself. You don't need to like be worrying about Christian. You need to worry about making your car fucking fast because it still sucks.
Yeah. Well, like Lewis had mentioned something, loosely, basically like, hey, F1 is trying to create an image, and by letting something like this slip, by kind of like covering up, oh, it's okay, he's been exonerated. When we didn't know exactly what it was, we accept that. But then everything gets leaked, and people are like, well, something needs to be done, because you look at all the other industries with the Me Too movement in Hollywood and stuff, but it's like, hey, you can't behave like that anymore.
Which is just ironic. How long before, let's just take this back like 05 even. I'm sure shit like this was going on all day long.
Oh, yeah.
And it was all hush-hush, right? And it's just because now everybody wants to be a hero and shit like that. I guarantee you Lewis has had some like pretty scandalous moments that he just kept it under wrap. Like, when you're on top of the world, like he's traveling, dating everybody under the sun. Like he's a hot commodity, right? Or a hot topic. And like everybody wants to get, it's like, I'm sure some shit happens with LeBron. Everybody's going to swipe it under the rug. Like, and I can't stand fucking LeBron.
Yeah.
But I'm not, even as much as I don't like LeBron, I'm not going to be like, hang him out to dry, put him at the stake. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I do. Well, I'm not defending Christian at all. Like, he did some stupid shit by all means.
But it's also like, don't shit where you eat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No,
like,
for
sure, maybe Lewis has, but like, he's not married.
Yeah.
And to my knowledge, he's never banged anybody in the staff. Or like whatever.
Maybe that's why his handler's going.
Everybody thought, right? But you never know, right? Like who knows?
Even at the same time, though, like it's Christian Horner. If he wants to cheat on his Spice Girl wife, I mean, do I think it's the smartest idea? Probably not.
Yeah,
but if he does that, like cool. Like there's plenty of people out there that I'm sure out there cheating, doing whatever the fuck they want, and they're high up in companies, and you never hear about it.
A ton of people.
But because the last 3-4 years of this Me Too bullshit,
I mean, we say bullshit, but I mean,
I don't feel bad.
You don't feel bad?
No, I don't feel bad.
I think
they did an investigation and they came to the conclusion that, hey, we're gonna keep them, that's their call. I mean, you can voice your opinion all you want.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just saying, I don't think Me Too is complete bullshit. As far as there's a lot of people in power using power positions to get control of people. I don't think that's okay. Whether it's a guy to a girl or a girl to a guy or a guy to a guy or whatever.
Right.
That I think is an issue. This whole, like, I don't know exactly what was going on. Right. I also think that there's a lot of people that play the victim when they have an opportunity, when maybe they had a 50% chance of also doing shitty things.
Yeah, so in that regard, janitor at Red Bull, and he was flirting with her, banging her, whatever he was doing, right? Sexting her. And then now she sees the opportunity to get a pay. She's making $50K a year. She gets best case, right?
Right.
She's like, oh, I see the opportunity. I can come up on a couple $100,000, almost $1 million. I'm going to take my shot. So it's like, whose motives were bad? Like, everybody was in the wrong.
So where it gets even cloudier in this situation, and I don't know if this is real, we just saw it online. Okay. Verstappen's dad, Joss, is apparently dating this girl, or was formerly dating her. Like, they were ex-lovers, and now Christian's like tapping it. I don't know. So that's where it gets. So now, the Verstappens being the emotional fucking characters they are, is now upset. Like, like he's gonna basically destroy Red Bull because Christian Horner, if he doesn't get fired, he's like, oh, well, you stepped on my territory, and so now I'm taking my son to Mercedes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's an escape clause in Max's thing with Helmut Marko.
Yeah.
Is that how you say his name? Helmut?
Yeah, Helmut Marko.
Sounds so weird. He's a guy named after a helmet. But anyways, so Marko, if he is no longer with the company or with the team, Max can leave. They're making it sound like Max is going to leave tomorrow, which is not the case. Yeah, like it's more so just for next year.
Same with Adrian Newey has that in his contract, I believe, as well.
Okay, because they're talking about Adrian and who's the other guy leaving? Adrian and Helmut, right? Mm-hmm. Adrian and Helmut leaving, so that would mean Max isn't going to stay, but then Christian.
I thought Helmut was going to get canned after last year and wasn't supposed to be here this year.
Or like he's in just an advisory role. He's
not
part of the team. Like he's like out. He's like
so maybe that's why they kept him as an advisor so that Max could stay or something. I don't know. It's always so much fucking backwoods like roundabout. Finagling.
Because how long does Max have on his deal?
Well, didn't he just sign
I thought he signed
like to 27 or something like that.
So
a huge contract.
Everybody's got their way out though too, like what I mean. Daniel got paid $18 million to leave, so it's like I'm sure that. And I saw another comment, or George made the comment. It's like if there's an opportunity to grab Max, everybody's going to take that shot.
Of course, absolutely. I mean, as much as I don't really love the guy, he's on top of his fucking game right now. He is sharp as ever. Like you'd be dumb not to sign that.
I mean, I would love to see.
He's on my fantasy team. Sorry.
I would love to see him actually go to Mercedes and see if he can make something work, or just see how he does in that car. Or and then just to be so dominant in two different cars would be sick. Like if you watch him 25, he goes over there, makes the car work, or at least battles for the lead, right?
Yeah.
Whoever gets, but then so that's just another wormhole. So hypothetically speaking, we'll play some bench racing here. Max goes to Mercedes. That probably means Daniel goes up to Red Bull, I would imagine,
or Albon.
Or both, because technically
Checo
doesn't have a ride, right? So then Daniel and Albon, because Albon already has a seat or an offer on the table, which we don't know how long that's valid for.
Yeah.
And then Liam comes in AlphaTauri. Liam goes somewhere.
I would say, yeah.
But I did hear that there's like 13 contracts that are up this year. So,
well,
there's a lot. I don't know if it's 13, but there's a lot of.
I meant to say this on our race show last week. This is I don't know if this is the first season, but we don't have any driver changes this season.
Any new seats.
Yeah, which is really interesting. We've got
technically, I guess Daniel is a new seat, but
no, because he took over mid-season last year. So
if they would have kept Nick though all season, then he would have been a new driver, new old driver, certified used,
certified used. Yeah, so I mean, definitely, he had that seat last year, so he's still coming into the same seat. Kind of interesting. A couple.
I definitely feel like there's some politics on how fast they should can. It wasn't fast. He had half the season to fucking Nick to figure it out, but he didn't.
Yeah.
Granted, he'd had probably one of the worst cars on the grid, but
and maybe if he was with a different team, he would have got a better opportunity to grow longer.
Yeah, like if he was at Williams, they probably would have.
Red Bull just doesn't unless you're Yuki.
Yeah, unless you're if it was like Nick was in Sargent's position.
Yeah.
Then they probably would have kept him all year, and then hey, you didn't grow with the team like they did with Sargent, like you're gone.
Yeah.
But and then I thought there was something else that developed. Oh, FIA president.
Yeah,
under fire,
under investigation for changing a race result,
interfering with the race
result. Yeah,
which was Alonso's penalty in Saudi Arabia last year.
Yeah,
which I can't even remember that race. Like what happened?
I don't remember. I don't remember either, but. Supposedly he did get some sort of penalty. I remember that, and then
he called the vice president that was there on site and was like, "Hey, you need to revoke this penalty."
So
now I got to go back and find it because I should have done that before this call. But I thought because I remember watching it.
Yes,
and I think that's
I
when
also
they were
remember
competitive.
thinking,
like you can't penalize. Yeah, I think we were in the moment. I think we were all like, you can't penalize them for that. Like you can't give that penalty because it was after the race. I thought.
I don't remember exactly.
I'm pretty sure it was that one race where it was after the race and like he crossed the line and then they were like, oh, well,
I
you're
was gonna
getting a
say it was
penalty.
like on the pit exit or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and you're gonna get a penalty. I'm like, you never gave him an opportunity to like serve the penalty. So
Yeah.
it's like, what is he supposed to do? It was like an unjust penalty either way. So I mean, I don't know. Like, what do you do at that point?
Yeah, like maybe even the FIA president made the right call. He just didn't have authority to do it.
Yeah, I think,
and so he's overstepping his authority, really.
I mean, I did be reading some comments though. A lot of people do not like the guy.
Well, there was something else that is kind of a scandal too with him, and I forget exactly what it was because
So much shit going on.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, a lot of people think that he's running into the ground. It's not good. It's been a shit show since he's taken over. I kind of wish I grew up watching it like 5, 6, 7, all the way like through my entire my life, so that I can like watch it evolve, right? Like obviously, I'm relatively knowledgeable on motocross, right? But then I can only speak to I've been watching F1 the last 4 or 5 years, so
yeah,
the modern era.
Yeah, same.
So I'm curious to see kind of what shakes out there. I mean, what do? They gonna disbar the? I don't even know how you get the FIA presidential seat, right? Like,
Yeah,
do you have to be like, oh, I governed over this track for so long and now put me on the board? Like, I don't even know the rules behind that. Nor, to be honest, I'm not going to go research for you guys because I don't care.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
The FIA doesn't help me anyways. I don't like them anyways. I'm not going to be on the FIA. I mean, if they want to pay me, by all means, I will go to every F1 race and everybody will be happy. I'm sure I will call a fair race. But
well, even all the like marshals are volunteer, right?
that's what blows my
It's
mind.
like FIA basically, FIA and F1 just basically print money for themselves.
Yeah, with how much money's in it, it's wild. Like I could see I mean, I still don't see it, but like motocross, supercross, I'm pretty sure those flaggers are volunteers as well.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are making, but F1 on that caliber of racing, like F1's here. Supercross is like your weekend, your weekend warrior. Like, hey, I'm going to the park to play pickup ball. Like,
right.
So it's like you're at here and you're not paying your flaggers. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, well, there's a slight bit of me that's like, oh yeah, cool, I'd go volunteer for that. But like, fuck that, I'm not volunteering.
Cities sponsor the races too, right? Like the FIA doesn't have to pay anything.
Yeah, I feel like that's really confusing.
The only race that they actually own is Vegas,
and I think that makes zero sense to me.
Like, weird.
How do you? I don't know.
I don't know either.
So it's like, well, so like Circuit Americas, do they put in a bid for, hey, we want this race in F1? Because like, could Laguna Seca come in and be like, we want a bid for the American stop in F1? Like, you know what I mean?
Probably. So, but then there's all those like really high regulation.
Yeah.
Right. So like, okay, well, you have to pay whatever it is, $20 million to resurface your track.
Yeah, and I'm sure your insurance has to be $20 million in coverage or whatever the dollar is.
Yeah, like so, all those things. Like, there's a lot that goes into being able to even have an F1 race.
And I'm curious. Obviously, Circuit Americas is a very prestigious venue. As far as caliber, and like they're hosting races all the time, so they could probably afford to do it, and they're upkeeping their track. Versus, you're not going to have the go-kart track down the street. Like, yeah, we're going to host an F1 race.
Right.
Nor like just. I wonder though, like, I feel like they have to because they wouldn't do it if it didn't make sense. But like, does the track make money? You know what I mean?
Like, they must somehow, right?
Like, do they get a cut of the entry fee? Not the entry fee, but like the ticket sale, or do they get to like? I know like certain, for example, like when you DJ, when I was DJing in college, like okay, some venues is like, hey, we're just gonna pay you a flat rate. Other were like, we'll give you part of the bar tab. Like you get 10% of the bar sales. It's just everything's slightly different, right? So it's like. Or if you're a promoter, you're like, cool, we split the gate entry fee, so like your ticket sales, and then you get your race entry fee, you keep that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, and like, does the city pay for it too, right? Like, or does the country pay because of how much capital could be coming in from all the fans driven in or whatever?
Yeah. So like, I mean, I don't think USA is gonna, but it would probably go state by state, or like the city maybe, like
like Austin, Vegas City probably would, right? Because their city's gonna capitalize, Miami. Like because I know even Vegas, like the city council or whatever, had to approve all this stuff.
You know what? I don't think it would be a good race, but I could see. I thought I heard somebody trying to do something in New York, or was that my theory that the only other place you could do a street circuit in America would be like New York?
Man, I don't know, but that'd be crazy.
I don't know how.
I think logistically it'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, or even LA, like any big city. Like, I mean, Vegas is pretty big.
LA would be more likely because it's so much more vast, right? It's like just a bigger place. You'd have more opportunity to be able to build something there. New York is so tight and congested,
Mm-hmm.
it would be really fucking hard because
I don't think it would
you'd have
outweigh.
to shut down all of those streets. And
Yeah.
I mean, think about Wall Street doesn't give a fuck about your F1 money.
Right.
You know what I mean? All that shit. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think there's just a lot more logistics to in a big city that's tight like that.
Right. I'm trying to think where else you. I mean,
because you'd also have to have like over the bridges or something too, right?
True.
Which would be wild.
Yeah.
Probably too much liability.
Yeah, because imagine like somebody getting. Well, I don't know.
How would you build out the bridge to be safe enough to handle all, the safety wise if somebody crashed?
No, right.
You know?
Like you'd have to put some crazy net up or whatever. It was something got airborne into the river. Whatever.
Yeah, and maybe you could just do it down through like Manhattan or whatever, and you
I mean, there's plenty of
some
areas
intertwining something,
yeah.
But
at the
it would
time,
be
it's
cool.
all going to be
it would
fucking
be cool.
90-degree corners. Like you're not going to have sweeping corners. Like it's all going to be 90-degree corners, and it's like.
Well, and then we get into like basically it's just another Monaco, where everything's so tight you can't pass.
Yeah, I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I think they should literally make so you have all the same technology, right? Just literally scale the car down.
Well, they're trying to do that in 26, right?
Right. The car will be smaller in 26. It's going to be significantly smaller, but like for that one race a year, because of the size of the F1 cars right now, for that one race a year, take the exact same car, but just scale it down to make it like not a go-kart, because obviously like back in the day they were racing, they were passing, but it's like you scale it down enough to where like it makes it reasonable that you could pass. But all the technology is the same. Just make a miniature version of that.
I think it's more difficult and with the cost cap, it's impossible. Like, you can't have a second car like that.
I think it'd be cool though.
It would be cool
because then it would make the racing in Monaco better and more legit. Yeah. But I mean, if we don't keep going back to Monaco, it doesn't matter. But it's like, okay, maybe take that out of the cost cap. Like, hey, you have your replica car that's just scaled down.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to say you have one race that you just have no cost cap on. But imagine like, Mercedes comes out the woodwork and just throws mad coin at the Monaco.
They win Monaco.
Man, their Monaco car was fast as shit.
But then like, all the people that are working hard to develop, the new upgrades and stuff for the main car.
It's a cause of distraction, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting theory.
I think it'd be good. Yeah.
Oh, one more thing to note for Red Bull, why apparently there's some internal conflicts going on too, is because the creator of Red Bull, right? Took a mattress shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I saw a picture of him. He's like Asian.
No, he's Austrian.
Is he Austrian? The dude I saw, or maybe they used their own picture. I don't know. The dude Asian.
So he passed.
Okay.
And now there's like a struggle between the majority ownership.
Oh, got it.
And now like his son only owns like 49%, and there's 51% shareholder, which maybe is the Asian guy. I don't know. I forget what country he. I think it's. I don't want to say Italy, but it might not be Italy.
Okay.
Anyway, so then there apparently is some internal struggle with that dynamic because of who actually owns or who wants to oversee their Formula One team and all of that stuff. So there's conflict there, and I think that's going down because that I think is where there's conflict between Helmut and Christian and something there, because one's siding on the family side, one's going towards the money side.
Right. I heard that Christian tried to buy the team, like he submitted to buy the team. I think it was a couple years ago or something like that. Yeah. I saw something about that.
Just like Toto owns Mercedes F1.
No, he actually owns it.
He's the CEO. I think he's a majority holder.
Oh, got it.
So he might not own it completely, like Stroll.
Right.
I think Stroll owns it completely.
Yeah.
I mean, Aston Martin. He's majority stockholder in Aston Martin.
Got it. So then I'm assuming he owns the team too.
Yeah. He's at least but so Toto's majority Mercedes.
Actually, speaking of the owners of Red Bull too, I read a thing. I think I sent it to you that the majority owner, whoever it was, of Red Bull, not the F1 team, but Red Bull, they heard about the allegations. They were going to dismiss it right away. Or they wanted to. I was kind of confusing on how it was worded. I had to read it a couple times. But my interpretation is they wanted to shit can Christian right away before the season. But then Christian invoked like his right to legal review, basically, in an investigation before they could just shit can him. So he contacted his lawyers. Like they had it drafted up, ready to go, and he got his lawyers involved before they could just put that press release out. Yeah. And so that's why the investigation happened. Because I mean, and props to Horner for getting ahead of it, right? And like being like, hey, I got to protect myself. So smart play on his part. Like I'm not gonna, I can't deny that. And then so they did the investigation by a third party, I guess. Third party.
That's what it's
third party happens to be Christian's cousin or something.
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
all kind of loose, you know. And we don't know who's getting paid off by who.
Right.
What's like? It's hard to know what's actually going on, but
I think
apparently some people were upset about how the investigation came out clean and leaked it to everybody. So now it's like, well,
it could have been.
It's at least going to be public news. You tried to keep it hush hush. Now everybody's going to see. And now Joss is like, well, also, how did he get on the email?
Because like, he's banging the secretary too, or whatever.
Right? Yeah. So I was like, oh, who leaked those?
Like, Daddy Jaws, help me.
Yeah.
I don't, dude. It's just that's an absolute shit show.
I'm like kind of a pawn in that game.
Oh yeah.
Which,
when I like when we started this, I started reading the thing that said Max says, why do I have a reason to leave? So like you got conflicted information. Like Joss is gonna tell, which actually I'd love to see. It's kind of like Baruka versus the dad. Like the dad's like, no, Baruka, we're leaving, and Max is Baruka, and he's like, no, Daddy, I want your pony, and then he's like, I'm gonna stay with my pony. And so I'm curious. I don't know. Yeah. I think Max though will play it smart. I think he's obviously trying to be independent, but at the same time, like if he sees like Adrian's leaving, like is the team gonna go to shit? I think he'll be like, all right, maybe I do consider leaving. Imagine.
Well, he's also even said like, look, I don't care about stats.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was curious too. I'm like, okay, why don't
all he cares about is stats?
Why don't you retire now? Like after the season, like kick goes the fan. Like why? Who's gonna snatch him up? Like he doesn't necessarily. I don't think he's as bad as Yuki. Like Yuki doesn't give a fuck to race. That's the other thing that pisses me off about Yuki. Not that we're back.
He wants to be a chef, man.
Yeah, he wants to be a chef. So it's like, yeah, go be a chef. Like, get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants you here. Like, have somebody adopt Liam and be certified Japanese or whatever so he can get on the team.
Yeah, interesting, right? Like, it just goes to show like how politics plays a role in so many things.
Oh yeah. I'm sure Liam's talent and made his way up through the ranks, but then doesn't have the connections that obviously Yuki has or Daniel has or whatever. And Daniel's been around a while, so Daniel's been able to build those connections over the time. It's definitely a shit show, to say the least.
Shit show. I'm excited to see how next season's like drivers lineup turns out.
Yeah, I'm curious because I wonder,
is Alpine going to be able to like come out of this?
I don't know. Like they got.
Hey, I did pick Gasly. He got like 6 points for me last week
because he moved forward, right?
Yeah, he picked up some places, but I'm not so sure after.
Hulkenberg, I think fucked me a little bit
this week. I don't know that I'm going to pick Alpine for a while unless they show some vast improvement.
Yeah, Hulkenberg made it to Q3, but then still got like -6 points. I think because he fell backwards second in the race, probably. Yeah, he got passed. But still, like
so. I saw another interesting stat that this was the first race in F1 history that a season opener, every car has finished the race.
I saw that too. Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
I was like,
which that's good. We're starting off on a good note, I guess.
Well, I thought Bottas retired, but apparently he just had a really long pit stop and then got out there.
They did a trans swap real quick, and that's what. Yeah, come on back out there.
Well, it was kind of reminiscent. Remember his pit stop with Mercedes in Monaco.
I don't remember
the wheel nut. Oh. It's officially the longest pit stop in history because they never got the wheel nut off until they got back to the factory at like 3 days later. So that's considered the longest pit stop is like 3 days or something.
Yeah, that's funny. That's rough.
Yeah.
Poor Bottas.
Yeah.
Dude, I actually saw that. Speaking of that team, Joe is in like the power rankings pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in like the top 10 for power rankings, which I was really surprised at. So he might be my sleeper pick for this weekend. I need to make some changes, and he's cheap.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's cheap. He always does pretty decent. Like he's consistently finishing.
I'm trying to figure out.
He finishes the race.
I have Oscar and Alonso right now, but basically I have to get rid of both of them to get
stock
Max.
Just went up or what? Yeah.
No, somebody like 3 of my drivers, their stock went down. But like for me to get Max, I have to take like kind of like you did, like one Max and then a bunch of shitty drivers.
That's basically I had to.
Yeah.
Like I picked 2. I thought we were gonna be 2 solid constructors. that were a decent price.
Yeah.
And then I took Max because he was on fire and double points on him. And
I mean,
so it definitely
Zach did good too, and he had Red Bull and Haas. So I was like,
yeah.
Also, I don't know if anybody is, and maybe I'm just telling myself this so I sleep good at night, that there's a lot more people in our fantasy league, but for some reason there's only 3 people pulling through. Like Raina's not in it. I don't know why. She said she joined. And
yeah, weird. So I'll put our code in this video so you guys can copy that in when you go to F1 Fantasy. It says league, put it like league code. You'll copy this, paste it in, you can join our league. It was a little funky this year on how to actually find what leagues that you
and it's just I think it was just crashing the site too. Like
yeah. It's worse.
I do like how they
last year. It's worse this year.
They have their own tab now, which is great, but then it's still
once you find it, you can pin it so it'll be at the top.
Yeah.
But it was really difficult, and maybe I'll make it just a quick video even on how to do it because it took us forever.
I think like 3 days.
Yeah, well, last year we ended up having what, like 30 people?
I think it was over 30.
36 or something like that. Yeah, so we'd love to see you guys all back.
I know we at least had like 10 to 15 that we personally knew, and then there's then I think probably a couple more that I didn't know their names.
We just didn't know who it was.
This year,
part of this year is we have our names.
It says your name
underneath your team name.
Yeah,
so now we know who people are, which will be helpful because then we can send you gifts and stuff. Christian can send you gifts.
I'm the only one that sends gifts.
As I said, you can send them a gift.
You still haven't sent what's her faces, huh?
I did.
Oh, did you?
But I owe Rishi. I have Rishi's. That's who I gotta send.
Got it. Okay. That's the one I thought you were thinking of. Dude, the one bounced, so that's why I'm like, I'm not sending this shit anymore. I was pissed that
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. Yeah, because it said Roscoe's dog. I didn't put like her actual name on it.
Maybe, but still.
I feel like you would have put 2 and 2 together, unless she was with somebody.
I just put her name that way. I don't know. It went through. She got it.
Oh, we're on the podcast too now.
We're now.
We dabbled in it last time. We could probably dabble a little bit more on that. 2 episodes are live.
Yep. I'll get after this. I'm just gonna throw them all up after they get edited. So
that's exciting though. That I know a couple people have been asking because I'm a driver. So like when I drive for work and stuff, like I listen to stuff. Like I can't really listen. I can't walk. Like
sometimes I pull up YouTube and just listen to it.
Yeah.
Even though it's probably not the best.
If the race is going on and I'm like whether it's Supercross, F1, whatever, and I'm driving somewhere, like I'll put it on and it'll be playing through the stereo.
Yeah, I do that with F1 too.
Yeah, so it'd be cool that that's on there, and it's a little bit easier to digest instead of having to stare at my ugly face the whole time.
Yeah. I am on a diet though, so starting to slim down.
Are you?
I don't know if I'm slimming down, but I'm on a diet.
I hate that when you're on a diet and nothing's happening. You're like, oh, this is great.
Well, I'm getting stronger, so that's good.
That's good.
My lifts are
doing lots of cock push-ups.
Well, one's really all you need. Cut.
Sorry, we're trying to keep this PG.
I guess we don't really know much about this coming weekend for Saudi Arabia,
Jeddah,
until after some practice.
They said they made Jeddah like a permanent track. There's originally it was a street circuit, now it's a permanent track, so it's like you can't claim it a street circuit.
It's just tight like a street circuit, I guess. Yeah.
Hopefully Logan can do good this weekend.
Oh, I guess what's interesting now is like F1 Academy has their first race.
Yeah, which I don't know when that is. I didn't see when that was. I didn't see the time.
I'm a little confused, I guess.
Because they've already racing.
This year it's all women?
I think so.
Has it always been like it's not specifically a women's
Me too
thing, right?
Oh.
I just thought it was interesting. I love I think it's cool, but also if we
I didn't know there's that many women drivers that were good enough to race.
Well, that's what, like if we
F4, whatever F it is, but
is F1 Academy be like until they can get into F2 or F3 or
I have no idea. I'm not even gonna act like I know what.
Yeah, I really have no idea either. But it's gonna be like you can watch it on F1 TV. So I'm excited. One, Leah Block is racing, so I'm really stoked to see her. And the Filipino chick for McLaren.
I forgot her name. I just saw another girl for Aston Martin, Jessica Hawkins. I think she's British. So she could be a sleeper too.
I know the Filipino girl is fucking good.
Yeah, fast.
She's fast.
There's a Red Bull girl I never heard of either. She looked
I mean every team has
I don't know if she was like
has a chick there now.
She was either like Hispanic or like an island like type like look. So and I've never even heard of her or seen her, but I'm curious to see how the Red Bull F1 Academy
I might even just watch some of it and see.
Do you know what time it starts?
I got it pulled up. I think the race is actually like qualifying for them is tomorrow, and then the race is actually Friday. And I want to say it's at like 8 a.m. our time or something
Grand
like that.
Prix weekend starts in 17 hours. Pretty soon.
Yeah, they had like the
let's see
pre-weekend warm up or whatever already today.
Yeah, so the race is at 10 a.m. Sick.
Yeah,
dude, I thought it was 9. That's even better.
I got clients, so I gotta watch it after.
Worthless. What? Where can I find the F1 Academy schedule? Is it not in there?
It's on F1 TV. I don't know.
Got it. Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder how many wrecks there will be. I like how why didn't they do it at Bahrain? Like, why are they doing it at Jeddah?
Because it's also a tight, like a hard circuit, like a really hard circuit. I don't know.
I feel like they have to have those cars. It's not like they're building them all F1. I mean, it's F1 Academy, but they can't be F1 cars. They look different.
Well, I think it's similar to like F2, right? Where they're basically all a spec car. It's the same car, just a different team sponsor.
And then they can adjust their setup if they want.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. So
actually, other racing this weekend is IndyCar.
Okay.
That season starts.
Grosjean's still racing Indy, right?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to watch.
Andretti's have a couple good drivers. Colton Herta, Kyle, I forgot his name. No, I want to say one other. So they could be good. They should be fast.
Yeah, sweet.
I know Colton won a couple of races last year, so he'll be probably the biggest challenger, I would imagine. I know they both won races, but I know Colton's pretty competitive. Then there's somebody else. Oh, Daytona 200 if you're in the Moto America. Yeah. That's like street bikes.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, not MotoGP, but it's
like flat track or something.
No, it's like they race at Daytona. But it's like the MotoGP, like the street bike racing, but it's just American. It's Moto America is what they call it versus MotoGP goes like the F1 equivalent, but on motorcycles.
Right. Exactly.
And then MXGP is motocross all over the different kind of
right.
Like F1 for motocross.
Like Antonio Caroli.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Supercross motocross is just America.
Right.
So
sweet.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Now we know.
I'm actually interested to watch some IndyCar this weekend. Jeff actually had blood. He loves the Moto America stuff in the Daytona 200 this weekend, so he's pretty excited for that.
All right.
I saw him on Tuesday.
Is he going to jump on our pod?
I've been trying to wine and dine him. I've been telling him to, and he's like, you don't want to talk to me. I'm old and boring. And I'm like, no, let's have you on here.
We want all the demographics.
Yeah, so
we're young and boring.
He can tell you about he can tell you about the mechanics of stuff.
Yeah,
which would be great. Like,
it'll be cool to even just talk more about blood and why it's so good.
Yeah, no.
I also want to ask him how long I can go on my oil change in my truck because I need to change mine pretty quick.
I had my light come on and it's only been like 5,000 miles. I'm not changing my shit.
Well, no, the computer tells you. Like, that's what it is. It's
nothing
to do with like.
But I know. I'm like, I was like, dude, I just changed my oil. Like, why is this oil already back on?
He said you could go 30,000 miles
25,
on that.
25. I don't think I'm gonna go 25.
But that's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Dude, and I changed the oil in the side by side. It was like it looked brand new still. It wasn't even bad. Yeah. I had I think on my car it says every 1,600 miles on the side by side. I was a little bit before it because I had that oil leak problem, but I hit that line. But it still was I was close to it. I was in with a couple hundred miles of it.
Yeah.
And it didn't look used at all. So
far we're enjoying it.
How any sleepers for this weekend?
It's gonna be hard to tell. Like I said, we haven't even watched one practice at this track yet.
Perez, I think, could be because Perez is
he won it last year, right?
He won it last year, and he's a good at the street circuit.
He is good at street circuit. I don't know.
Can't rule out Alonso too.
Yeah,
but other than that, that's all. I mean, I feel like Leclerc. Obviously, those top 5 guys. Leclerc will be good.
I think what's going to be interesting is to see how the team lineups start shaking up. Like, is Ricardo and Yuki going to be kind of sketchy from now on?
Or just quash it during the week.
Yeah, are Ferraris going to come together at some point? I think both of them are mature. I don't think that they're their racing together, I don't think is out of any animosity or
Daniel and Max
trying to prove. I think they're both just really good and
or Ocon and
calculated
Alonso.
enough to pass each other right now.
Yeah.
But we know accidents can happen.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting. I think their team as a direction is moving really, really positive.
Yeah.
Reliability in the past has been an issue. I think they're starting to wrap that up a little bit better and get a little bit more reliability. So I don't know. Sleepers, I think Red Bull's just gonna. I think Max is gonna fucking walk away the whole season.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think Max is the one to beat, and he'll maintain that. So, like, I mean, unless some crazy stuff happens, I think he's basically got the title. But it's so early to call him. But I'm pretty sure the title's going to Max.
Yeah,
so I go put your money on red.
Another stat that like he's held like first position in the championship for like
40 races through
40, yeah, like 40 or 60 races or something like that's pretty crazy stat.
Yeah. I think Carlos has nothing to lose, so he's like, I'm going to send it. Yeah. I think, and he's trying to impress whoever, whether it is Audi or if he goes somewhere else. I mean, I'm sure he's gunning for that Mercedes C2 because he knows that's open. I think Carlos could be good there. It could either make or break his career because I think it'll be more so dependent on if Mercedes can get their car figured out.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple drivers that are just so soft. Like somebody this week was like, "Oh, he pushed me off the track." I'm like, what do you mean he pushed you off the track? Like,
yeah, I know who
you both were arcing that direction.
I know who you're talking about, and it was like you had plenty of space. He was in the lead. You didn't concede the lead to that.
Yeah, like he was already in front of you. You drive to the side of him, man. Like
totally. Who was that? It wasn't Gasly, was it?
No, I don't think Gasly's not that stupid.
No, it was somebody that like Stroll or somebody.
Dude, what about Stroll coming from 20th to 10th? What a drive. Like spun around.
I didn't even realize that.
Spun around in the corner on the first lap, and then he came back to 10th. And I didn't even register until like I saw it at the end. And I'm like, and then I saw the post even too, and I was like, oh yeah, cool, like Stroll, whatever. Yeah. Like Stroll's in 10th, that's a normal position. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot he was like ass backwards on the start.
That's right.
So
he was like
somebody had wing damage too.
I know who hit him. Was it Bottas?
I don't remember now.
Yeah, somebody came in. Yeah, all right. I feel like that's
I can't really think. I mean, I'm sure I could keep talking shit about somebody. But
we can always talk more shit.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today, guys. We're excited for the second race of the season coming up. We'll see you guys.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
I hate saying that. I really do. I don't like saying it.
Oh yeah, we got to work it into like. If you like the spicy content, like
be the OnlyFans.
Then
subscribe
hit that subscribe button. It's all we ask of you. It's completely free. We'll never ask another thing.
Or go on Spotify. Follow us on Spotify. Actually, I don't really. I mean, just follow.
I don't know. Yeah,
follow one of them, like one of them, subscribe.
We'll set the links. We'll set the links to you guys. We appreciate you. You're the reason why we can continue doing the channel and that we give a shit to do the channel. So let's just keep growing this stuff. If you guys have any suggestions or you want to come on as a guest, we're open. Come on up.
We need to cut the show.